Oh man. So my name is Ruth Szaefer, and I organize the Fridays for Future rally outside of Guelph City Hall every week. And it is so beautiful to see your amazing faces out here. Thank you so much for coming and supporting this and showing Guelph that we do care in climate action, and we will demand it for the federal election this coming October. As we gather today, we are reminded that the land we stand on is stolen. Guelph is situated on treaty land that is steeped in rich Indigenous history and home to many First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people today. As a city, we have a responsibility for the stewardship of the land on which we live and work. Today, we acknowledge the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation of the Anishinaabe peoples on whose traditional territory we are meeting. We are doing this acknowledgement today to recognize that the impact of colonialism is felt not only in the hearts and minds and stories of the Indigenous communities who lived here before us, but also in the land, the air, and the water into which we have settled. It is time to recognize the consequences of our actions and learn from our Indigenous teachers how we can reconcile the damage that has been done. I'm a registered nurse by trade, but that doesn't really matter today. The only real job that I have in this world is to be a mom. I have two babies, a 3-year-old little boy named Lucas and a 10-month little baby girl named Mackenzie. And for better or worse, those two kids are my life. 5 months ago, I was not a climate activist. I mean, I cared about our planet. I recycled, and I told my kid not to kill bugs, and I gave my husband crap when he bought bottled water, but that was pretty much the extent of it. And then one day, for whatever reason compelled me to do it that day, I started looking into it. You know, what all this hype was about and what all the urgency was suddenly. I mean, global warming has been a term that's been thrown around for decades, and never has it been said with such panic. So I started reading about it. And I read about the impacts of our world increasing in temperature by 1.5 degrees Celsius. Above pre-industrial levels. And then I read about the impacts of our world increasing to 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels and beyond. And I'm not going to get into the science of it today because that's not what I'm here to speak about. But I will tell you that it literally took my breath away. My only real job in this world is to protect my babies. And there is something on our horizon that could literally be the end of civilization as we know it today. And I felt powerless to stop it. My initial reaction was to shut down. Literally, close the computer, walk away, dig myself into a little hole of ignorance, and stay there. Because it felt way easier to do that than it did to face it. And I sat with that feeling for a couple minutes, and then I had a realization. And I realized that feeling is where the majority of people in our society find themselves today. And that feeling is where the majority of people in our society stay. They realize climate change exists. Everyone knows that climate change exists. It's not barely a conversation anymore. They know that something bad is on the horizon. They may not understand the complete picture, but they know that it's big, and they know that it's scary, and they don't know what to do about it. So we resolve to do nothing. As soon as I came to that realization, I decided that I needed to do something. Because if I don't do anything, and everyone else that find themselves in that situation doesn't do anything, then we are solidifying a war for our children that cannot be won. And that is a reality that I refuse to accept. So I opened up my computer again, and I started reading some more. And that's when I came across Greta Thunberg. A 16-year-old girl from Sweden who took it upon herself to act. Not demanding support, nor asking for permission for what she was doing. She decided to strike from her school every Friday. She stood outside the Parliament buildings in Stockholm, Sweden, with a simple sign that clearly said, "School strike for climate." And at first she was alone, and within a couple of months, she had fired a 3movement that has been the first of its kind in the climate activism world. Yes! She has inspired millions to stand up and act. She has given millions of youth and adults alike the courage and the resolve to demand climate action from our world leaders. So inspired by her and her Fridays for Future movement, I decided to take her lead and start rallying outside Guelph City Hall every Friday. And here I stand, and here I will stand with her and with everyone who follows behind her until Canada adopts the transitions that are required to meet the targets that science has given us.